Premium compact sedans is really where the market is going, and there's a lot of rivals. You have your BMW 2 Series, you have your Mercedes-Benz A-Class, you have your Audi A3. Today, Regal Acura presents the 2022 Acura ILX Premium in platinum white. The premium is over the base, so in the interior, better materials. You'll receive leather instead of leatherette. On the exterior, upgraded wheels from the standard 15-inch, but the best part is the savings that you get with the Acura can go all the way up to $8,000 when you're comparing it against the rivals. I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides, and we're going to go over all the specs and details. When you get into the luxury sedan market, you really have to think, what are you getting with value? Right out of the box, we're going to start off with the Pentagon grille. You're going to get the gloss black inserts, and around it is going to be the chrome trim. And I like how the bumper just gives a more sport heritage that goes into these jewel LED headlamps. It is a 4 LED outer lamp for normal lighting, 3 LED inner lamps for your high beams. Going down the bumper, it's going to be a non-functional vent here, but I do like that they put the gloss black. Chrome that's going to surround it, and even on the lower trim, you're going to get the matte black, which I wish this was a gloss black, or maybe just put the chrome trim. The clearance is still good at 5.3 inches, which makes it a little bit better than the Mercedes-Benz A220. It's not going to be the widest at 70.6 inches. However, it does have a nice stance to it. The proportion layouts, the height is going to be 55.6 inches. And the aerodynamics on the hood just flow into the jewel lights and the fenders. That's going to encase these 17-inch multi-spoke alloy wheels, which again, the base is 15-inch, flared out fenders with the disc reading at 12.3 inches. The front is ventilated, 11.1 inches. It's going to be a solid, a McPherson strut front suspension, multi-link rear suspension. Both the front and the rear will have your anti-roll bars, amplitude reactive dampers. The sports car styling would come a little bit more into play when you get the A-spec version. However, with the premium, you still get the sculpted lines, which gives that aggressive styling. It's going to be the largest amongst the rivals at 182.2 inches. The wheelbase, however, Mercedes-Benz will be longer, and this is at 105.1 inches, a 67-37 weight distribution. So the dynamics is going to be more for luxury derived than sport. I do like that they keep the chrome that's going to surround the window trims, because this really does illustrate that it's more of a luxury than sports car, because you do have some nice aerodynamic lines that go down. I like that the side view mirror caps is the same color as the body. I wish that the center here was a gloss black, only because the matte black does tend to get a little bit faded in hotter environments. But comparing it to the BMW, the Mercedes-Benz, or the Audi, I think the stance is pretty much right on point with it, and they're doing a good job with it. The shark fin antenna, the same color as the body, no spoiler lip, so that keeps that luxury styling, but the LED tail lamps, and you're going to get a bit of a chrome look over it, so I do like that we keep that styling profile from the front all the way to the rear, so all four corners, stressing a compact luxury vehicle. And the way the rear bumpers sit, it looks a little bit more up and aggressive styling. You're going to get the side sill that will have your reflector. Because this is not the A-spec, only a single exhaust outlet, but you do have a massive diffuser that pretty much runs across the whole lower lip in the matte black yet again. I kind of wish that they did a two-tone to this, maybe put the gloss over it, or add a little bit of chrome or something just to offset it. You do have your reverse camera and your parking sensors. Going inside your cargo is the best in class at 12.4 cubic feet. Storage underneath the floor, the rear bench splits down flat. That will maximize the cargo space. Even though this is not necessarily derived for performance, I still want to hear that exhaust note. All Acura ILX will have the same powertrain. The specs will just add to the aesthetics for the exterior and interior and better materials. So if you do go to the A-spec, it's going to look more sporty. However, they're all going to be backed with a 2.4 liter VTEC naturally aspirated inline 4-cylinder, producing 201 horsepower and 180 pound-feet of torque. That's paired to an 8-speed dual-clutch transmission, achieving 24 to 34 mpgs, and it's a blend between the best and not necessarily the worst for your mpgs. 0 to 60 at 6.6 seconds, which is going to be a touch less than the rivals, with a quarter mile at 15.2 seconds. So you still do get the speed, you still get the styling, all blended in. When you compare to the rivals, the discount that you get is anywhere from $6,000 to nearly $8,000. So you really have to take these things in consideration, because if you're just wanting to get your feet wet and trying to get into luxury to see how it is, this is definitely a great alternative. Let me know in the comments what you think about the 2022 Acura ILX Premium as we go into the interior, go over the tech, and take this for our test run. Entering inside the Acura ILX, you're going to receive 38 inches of headroom, 42.3 inches of legroom, which is the best in class. It's 1.5 inches almost more than the Audi, just to give you some specs to that. The seats in the front are going to be sports derived. We have the leather A-spec. You can get the Milano premium leather with the ultra suede inserts. This one has the contrast stitching and the piping. They're heated front seats, 10-way power adjustment for the driver, 4-way for the passenger. That is something, when we're comparing it to the rivals, I like that we're getting 10-way power adjustment. However, they seem to always give a little bit less for the passenger. The dashboard is going to be ready for a refresh. However, it does still look pretty decent. You have a 2 infotainment screen that's stacked, and you're going to have a 2 different looks. So you have a chrome and a silver, and then the matte black over the top. Going over your infotainment, there's no touchscreen in the top, as you're seeing. You can use the roller knob. It is a 7-inch on-demand multi-use display. The touchscreen is the lower displays. Hit your source, so that way you can see everything we have. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, but you do have some shortcuts that you can go through on here. A standard audio system with dual climate control settings. Switch to reverse, it'll be on the top screen. You do have trajectory. It's a pretty clean screen, and I mean, it's pretty large for the most part. And this one has the 7 speakers. You can get an ELS Studio Sound, which would have 10 speakers, and that also adds the noise cancellation. Leather is going to be around your gear lever, and you have a little storage right here, and also some leather on your park brake. Cup holders, you can easily fit a 16.9-ounce water bottle. I would say a 20 is pretty sufficient for the most part. Open up in here, and you're going to have a USB, a 12-volt, and it's pretty decent size storage. I mean, it's a luxury car at the end of the day. Elbows are going to be more sport derived. 3-spoke leather wrapped steering wheel, multifunction paddle shifters, the gauge cluster. You do have a variety of settings that you can go through. And the best part about it is, again, you're saving anywhere from $6,000 to $8,000. So take these things in consideration. Door panel, harder materials are going to be on the top. You're going to have the memory for the driver, 1 touch up and down, no dual pane windows. You'll have the contrast stitching with the leatherette. Storage here is going to lack a little bit. When you're comparing it to the rivals, you could really only fit about 2 16.9-ounce water bottles, so you can fit a little bit more there. But I mean, for the most part, it does its justice. It feels luxurious. Let's check out those back seats. For the back seats, I'm at 35.4 inches of headroom, 34 inches of legroom, which, comparing it to the rivals, they really do optimize the space a little bit better. So anyone that's over 6 foot tall that you're going to have in the back seat, it's going to be a little tight, but you can fit. Elbows are going to be really soft here, a little bit more firm on the door panel. There's nothing in the center for air vents, USB, or 12-volt. Only 1 storage on the passenger side. The floor is more or less completely flat. The way the seats are, it is a flat bench, so there's nothing really to hug you on the sides, which is kind of good when we'll see how I look in the center. Door panel, harder materials. You're going to get the leatherette with the contrast stitching, and there is no storage at all, which this also kind of is one of those things that I kind of get a little irritated with, especially when you're in a luxury vehicle, because when you have 3 people, which you're going to see how I look in the center in a second, where are you going to put your drinks? Let's check out how I look. Sitting into the center is going to be very difficult. You'll have to really adjust yourself, but if you sit like you should, headroom, I'm going to be all over the place. Same thing with leg room, feet, butt, shoulder, everything. It's really hard to fit 3 adults my dimensions. I'm 6'3". I would say if you're going to do that, just do it on a short journey. But fitting 2 back here isn't necessarily too bad, even though you don't have as much space as the competition. You still have more cargo, so you have to take that in consideration. Unfortunately, there's no charging ports in this tier, which does make it a little bit less luxurious for the rear. Taking the 2022 Acura ILX Premium out, 201 horsepower, 180 pound-feet of torque. The dual clutch automatic transmission though is really what makes it a little bit more exciting. When you're comparing this to the rivals, the numbers obviously will be a lot less. But like I've been saying throughout the review, from the exterior to the interior, you have to consider the price point of what you're getting when you get a luxury vehicle. And you're getting a substantial discount. You get the 4-year warranty, so it is backed basically the same thing as any luxury vehicle as derived. As for the feel of the drive, it's very nice and smooth. Give it a little go. And I mean, it does its job. 6.6 seconds, 0 to 60 roughly. It's obviously not going to be the fastest in the category, but for the visibility, I can see through the front windscreen. What Acura does is really good. They make the A-pillars push back more, so it gives more visual space in the front. So that does help a lot. You have your blind spot monitoring, and I mean, you really don't have to worry too much in that attribute because it's not necessarily that long of a vehicle. The weight distribution isn't the best. I mean, when you're at 67-37, it's going to be more derived for luxury. As you get up to a speed, the sound doesn't really filter out. It comes in more so. A lot of that also with the upgraded wheels. I hear it a lot through the wheel wells, kind of through the side windows, not really through the windscreen. Turn radius at more or less a stop point is going to get about 2 lanes, and here we go. And I mean, the biggest complaint I have really is not necessarily the power derived underneath it. It's just how the noise really just filters in so much more than the rivals. But thinking about the price point, it is a great option because you're going to save a substantial amount. The service is also going to be inexpensive, and you get all the safety for the front and the rear. So I mean, you're really up to date. There is some styling cues on the interior that could be refreshed. Now, there is 3 things I like and 3 things that I dislike. Because anything more than that, I'd be buying this vehicle. The 3 things that I like about it is the luxury without breaking the bank account, which is very hard to do, especially nowadays with market adjustments and the higher premiums of the vehicles. Each year they increase in price, and it's great that this vehicle stays at a lower price tier. It's actually better you buy this than the Honda. That's the price point that you're at, and you get luxury. The second thing that I like about it is the ride is very smooth. It's a small engine. You don't really feel it too much in the sense of vibrations. Now, I will say on the door panel area, you'll feel a little bit more of those vibrations, and maybe on the dash part. But as for the seat, they're very comfortable. It's very composed. You go over any terrain and it's just going to glide. These are not oversized wheels that's going to really hurt the ride quality. So this is pretty good spec when you're thinking for long journey or short commutes. The last thing that I like about it is that you get all the safety. You have an Acura watch on here. You have all the technology except for Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. When you go to the competition, you will get that, but in the same attribute, you still have Bluetooth connectivity, so that's really what you need, because if you're using your navigation, it'll do the voice by voice through your Bluetooth connectivity. 3 things that I dislike about the vehicle. When you get this, there's no options to get the engine or performance more. When you go into the rivals, all of them have better options in that category. So you can get a more powerful engine, you can get a lot more better specs. This one, it's really more of aesthetics and better leather or better materials in the interior. That's great. I just would like to have a little bit more performance when I go up the tier. The second thing that I dislike about the vehicle is in this particular model, the premium. The back seat, you have absolutely nothing for charging ports, air vents, cup holders. It really lacks in, and it's pretty tight. When you compare it to the rivals, this is actually not necessarily the best. We're going to stop in the middle of the road, put it in gear, here we go. And we're gonna have to do some hard braking. Here we go. This is just driving normal. Just wanted to let you guys know. The last thing that I dislike about the vehicle is the tech is lacking just a touch. Yes, you can use the Bluetooth connectivity, but no Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. It does make it a little bit tougher to choose this one, even though the savings is a significant amount. But when you think about the service, the savings, the type of vehicle you're getting all in one, it's a great package. The MPGs is actually better when you're doing it in the city. Highway is going to be just a touch less than the rivals. So if you're doing everyday commute, this is definitely the best one to choose. For long journeys, it's still a really good choice because of the savings, and it's not really that much difference in gas consumption, and it's not gonna be the amount that you would save in the long term of owning this vehicle. So ultimately, best bang for your buck, this is really the way to go. I know that it does need some refreshments in the interior. The seat designing, though, is pretty good. It would be nice to have a little bit more power adjustment for the passenger and maybe a little bit more leg space and storage in the rear. All in all, performance-wise, you're obviously going to want to go to the BMW, Mercedes, or Audi. But if you're looking for an everyday luxury car that has the sports attributes on the exterior and a smooth drive, this is definitely what you would consider. I'd like to thank Regal Acura here in Lakeland, Florida for giving us this 2022 Acura ILX Premium for our car review. If you're already a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Hawkeye community. If not, click that subscribe button, check out the merchandise, the details, the website, everything we do here at Hawkeye Rides.